Well, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us. We are so excited to get started on today's program. Welcome to our Global Innovative Risk Management and Insurance Solutions, a U.S.-India Perspective webinar. We are going to learn a lot today about how to manage risk and how insurance can help protect our businesses. My name is Rachel Dupin, and I am the Chamber Manager for the U.S.-India Chamber of Commerce, DFW. Our chamber is a Dallas-Fort Worth-based 501c6 organization whose mission is to support professional, business, and economic development throughout North Texas and facilitates bilateral trade with India. The chamber's services include business consulting, networking, and knowledge events, conferences, trade missions, and partnerships with academic institutions to promote learning opportunities about India. You can learn more on our website, www.usicoc.org. That's www.usicoc.org. So today we're going to learn about global innovative risk management and insurance solutions, a U.S.-India perspective. And it's my pleasure to introduce to you our speakers from Marsh McLennan Agency. Travis Sarton has been in the insurance and risk management profession since 1997 with significant expertise and client experience in the technology, construction, and nonprofit industries. His expertise covers all facets of employee benefit programs, including cafeteria plans and fully insured and partially self-funded medical programs. He is vastly experienced with outside-the-box alternative programs such as Section 105, HRA, and HSA benefit programs. Travis has been with Marsh McLennan since 2000. We are also joined all the way from India, where it is late at night, so thank you for coming and joining us, by Prakash Rajan. Prakash is the National Sales Leader for Marsh India based in Mumbai. He has the management responsibility for developing the private equity and M&A business in India. He also oversees the relationships of some of the largest Indian corporates and multinational companies as an SRO. He works with many large regional and global multinational companies, strategizing and providing them with optimized risk and insurance solutions for their local needs in India. We are also joined from India by Puneet Chawla. Puneet is part of Marsh India's international business development team based in Mumbai. The team specializes in insurance and risk advisory services for large multinational corporations having operations in India or planning to venture into India. His focus, among other areas, is to develop new business opportunities from North America, the Middle East, Australia, Hong Kong, and China. Puneet has 18 years of experience in insurance and risk management. And then finally, we are joined by Michael Winton. Michael is a former practicing attorney and a proven business development leader with extensive experience in relationship building, strategic planning, and execution, working in diverse industries and creating results. He is proud to be part of the Marsh McLennan Agency team, where he focuses on business insurance. So I'm going to turn it over to Travis, and he's going to take it away.
Thanks, Rachel. And what a pleasure it is to be not only speaking to you today, but be a sponsor of the U.S.-India Chamber of Commerce. It's amazing things that the Chamber does, and we're just happy to be part of it and be able to bring you some education today. And that's really what we want to focus on is that this isn't a commercial for Marsh McLennan. This really is an educational opportunity just because of the world that we live in today. And with really Dallas, Texas being a hub for Indian American business operations and spanning both countries, global trade has really come with a lot of patchwork related to insurance marketplaces, regulations, and really how you span both sides of this equation. There's distinct rules and customs that everyone needs to be aware of. Our discussion today will include the impact of cross-border insurance programs, how executing a multi-coverage strategy will help manage your risks on a domestic and also on a global scale. But we really want to provide some really keen insights, some global insights and some experience to help multinational organizations. It takes global scale, a disciplined approach, and consistent services to really address your risks, implement the proper solutions, and manage those insurance risks around the globe. And with that being said, we're going to dive into Once again, Rachel did a great job of giving our introduction and the theme for today. And so as you see, we are all represented here, and we are very, very, very fortunate to be with our colleagues at MMA India. And thank you for joining us as we go through this presentation. Once again, it's not a commercial, but what we do bring to the table as one of the largest global risk management firms is a collaboration of experts in our practices, being able to identify merging trends and those insights that I described earlier. And as our organization continues to strive forward on behalf of our clients, we are also creating proprietary programs and obviously improving enhancements that serve our clients deeply. And we can't do that without really having a global reach. So we're in over 130 countries, over 70,000 colleagues, and a lot of experience that really brings depth and breadth as we're providing advisory services on a global basis to our clients. We wanted to give just a brief illustration of how our global network really fits cohesively with our advisory services. Once again, Michael and I are here based in Dallas, Texas. I'll talk about what our US presence looks like. Our colleagues in India obviously are well represented, but as you can see, it really takes a global footprint to be able to be best in class and an expert, once again, to be able to handle and manage your insurance and risk management programs across the world. Here in talking about really where our group is today on a domestic basis, you'll see that we're represented really across the country. We are driving innovation, change. We are growing our footprint and we're growing our colleagues, which ultimately means that we're growing our experts on staff, which is represented in this map that you see here in front of you for our domestic operation. But as we really transition, I want to transition over to Prakash, because Prakash is going to give you insight as to our Marsh India office. Prakash, take it away.
Thanks, Travis. And it's a pleasure to introduce Marsh India. As you can see, Marsh India was the first licensed broker to start operations in India in the year 2003. And since then, we've been serving our clients across the geographies in India, be it an Indian multinational or companies coming from the US or across the globe. So we've been advising them on the solutions that should be taken in India, the local policies, the mandatory covers that needs to be taken, and also the market in India, the insurance market. And we've been in the forefront of delivering claims expertise. And I'll be touching upon all the areas of expertise that resides within Marsh India. But at this moment in time, if you see the slide, we are present across the length and breadth of the country. And we're present in 18 offices across India. And we are 1,000 employees plus strong and team, and we continue to grow. And in terms of our relationship with our corporates in India, we serve more than 6,000 corporate clients in India. And it's our pleasure to be connected with each and every corporate when it comes to giving them advisory services and also best-in-class claims services, because we believe the real test of an insurance product is when a claim comes. And our experts across the product lines, be it property or a casualty program or be it an employee benefit program, we have the right set of colleagues who can navigate all sorts of challenges for our clients when they do business in India. And also when they go overseas and when they are operating in geographies across the globe, especially in the US, we have a lot of unique advisory services and structured programs, which my colleague Puneet will be taking into in detail. And we serve clients across all of these sectors. So this is one slide which showcases Marsh India's capabilities. If you look on the left side of it, it talks about risk specialties. We have specialty segments. These are in-depth practices having consultants who are experienced both in India as well as globally. And if you look at these names here, we provide services in employee health and benefits, which is one of the largest practices within Marsh India. We have India Client Services. This is a service which essentially serves clients, Indian multinationals, which are going across the globe and they are headquartered in India. We have a specialist practice serving clients in the power infrastructure space. Again, private equity in mergers and acquisitions is one of the leading teams in India. And across the M&A spectrum in India, they are leaders and they provide a lot of unique solutions in the space. FinPro, again, is a very specialist area, and we take pride in all of these products since we are leading the overall market in be it cyber or a directors and officers policy, and also all the workmen compensation casualty programs. We are really number one in India also. If you look at the multinational client segment, we have a dedicated practice there. Energy, again, is a big segment for us in India. And consumer solutions, again, affinity programs has been a big success for us when we talk to our clients and also solutions around it. Property, again, is a dedicated program in India, and we have a specialist team taking care of all the property lines of insurances. War, terrorism, political risk, trade credit insurance, consulting solutions, and reinsurance and marine. These are the other dedicated practices that is present in India, and we serve our clients across the globe. Industry specialities are again very well developed in India, and when we can talk to a client, we actually specialize our offerings with respect to the industry that they're present in. So be it the life sciences or a financial institutions or automotive, a lot of unique solutions exist in those industries. And when we address these solutions, it is more specific to the industry rather than a generalistic solution. So we have developed these industry specialities in India, and it is growing phenomenally well. And all our clients have really appreciated our efforts in developing these specialities, and we have come a long way. And we look forward to serving you all. If you have any exposures in India, any questions, I think we'll take those questions towards the end. But it'll be my pleasure to take any thoughts, any questions at any point in time that you all feel. Puneet, my colleague, will take over the slide on FDI and so yeah.
Yeah, thanks Prakash, and thanks Rachel, Travis for organizing this event. Our pleasure to be around, and I would like to thank our American counterparts, be it our clients, be it the chamber members and our colleagues, obviously, that we are happy to receive your inflows, the FDI inflows coming into India. We thank you for that. America has been a very important partner in our bilateral relations, where we have grown leaps and bounds in the last many decades because of the kind support from the American community. And this is what is shown also on the paper, where you see that the American inflows into India has been quite phenomenal. They have helped us strengthen ourselves not only in defense, but in many other areas, which is technology and medical research, and now it is getting into retail and other things. So thanks for that. Travis, the next slide, please. And equally, India has tried to give support to the other side, obviously, and we have tried to build up on our relations. We have tried to invest in Americas as well. There have been a lot of Indian multinationals who have come there, who have set up their shops. There are technology companies who have a lot of employees there, and this graph will only grow further from here on. There has been a little decline, you can see. However, there are certain reasons about it, but this will only grow, going forward. And especially when we are seeing now the COVID issues hitting the entire supply chain markets, both countries surely are looking to, help each other to, come back to the normal, the new normals and the routines of having good GDP growth and all. Yeah, Travis. So let me discuss the specifics here. India market is important. India market for you, if you are a multinational company who are having an investment already in India, or if you are considering an investment soon, this is a slide which is important for you. This shows you as to the current insurance dynamics in India. Indian market has been growing if you do not take into account the last years because of COVID issues. However, India insurance market has been growing consistently. You can see that the CAGR is about 16%. New India Assurance, it is one of the oldest and remains the largest insurance company still in India. This is a public sector company. Then we have the largest public private company, which is ICICI, which is having a partner Lombard coming in from the North Americas. You have United India and Oriental. Again, these are old, PSU companies owned by government. And then you have Allianz and many other multinational insurance companies who have already come into India. They have already formed their alliances and they're doing quite well. So the Indian insurance industry, it has evolved from a very nascent player, which was predominantly managed by public sector companies, where innovation was not discussed. And we were very traditional in our approach 20 years back, maybe. In the last 20 years, since the market has opened, you could see that, we are talking everything that's across available, say in Lloyd's or say in Americas or anywhere, in the world. So all the products are available, all the solutions are available. There are some little, last mile issues. I'll cover that later in the slides. Otherwise, be rest assured about the products, about the coverage and about the service standards. We in India, we can assure you that the service standards are, are comparable to any other country in the world. Travis. Reinsurance, again, it's important for a multinational companies to understand, because while you may be in India and doing investment in US, or you may be in US doing investment in India, you must know that beyond an insurance company, insurance company is held by a reinsurance company. Knowing a reinsurance company is very important, because at any point of time, your claims are also supported by reinsurance companies. And reinsurance companies in India were not available till last couple of years. In 2018, the market got opened up by the government. Until then, GIC, which is General Insurance Corporation of India, this was the only reinsurance company available in India to do business. And otherwise, you may have to go out once they say no to participation. Now we have, if you see the best of the names, which is Munich Re, Swiss Re, Berkshire, SCOR, Lloyd's, everyone's available now. In fact, we also opened our doors to the reinsurance broker, who are foreign reinsurance brokers. And we have these, listed reinsurance broker, including Marsh, available now in India, who are able to get you, good terms, reasonable terms, comparable terms from across the globe, especially from the Asia Pacific region and Lloyd's, because that is where most of the Indian corporates reinsurance programs are listed at this moment. Yes, Travis. Indian regulation, very important to understand. Again, whether you are based in India or based outside, these are important events, and the industry is known to you in general, but these are very specific issues now, where we are talking about the nitty-gritties of insurance in India. You may be in your past doing businesses on insurance on credit basis. There is a allowed credit period in many countries. Unfortunately, in India, it is a cash before cover. So once you agree with the terms and condition, unless you pay the premium upfront, it could be bank transfer, it could be bank guarantee, or it could be even by a demand draft or a check. Unless you present this instrument to the insurance company, they are not in a position to issue your cover. So this is very important development when you discuss Indian insurance market. We are a bit different from many other countries, but in Asia Pacific region, this is very common that any insurance has to be from cash before cover. We are an admitted country. That means most of the covers needs to be discussed internally. The coverages, etc., are already regulated. They are already filed with the regulator. So, unless you need a very different cover, there are certain provisions we can discuss as and when you need. Otherwise, on most prominent terms, the terms, conditions, and the policy wordings are all already regulated by the regulator. The insurance premiums are paid directly to insurance companies. This is again an important thing to note for you, that you need not pay us as a broker. We are not allowed to take any charges from you. All the premiums are paid directly to insurance company. And as a broker, we do not charge you if we are a mandated broker for you, unless you are asking us to provide some other insurance services, which is already pre-agreed with you on a fee basis. However, the insurance brokerage is on direct discussions with the insurance company. So whatever premium you pay, we are able to get compensated from an insurance company, not from you. We are a tariff market, meaning thereby that the insurance premium rates are regulated in India in most classes, or most prominent classes, I must say, and property is one of them. And this is an important development again for you, that there is obviously a thought process when any new renewals are coming in, or any new policies are to be taken as to competitive premium terms. Unfortunately, for property classes, the rates are regulated. However, as a broking unit, Marsh has been able to demonstrate technical prowess here in terms of getting you much extended coverages, and also many times, if it is warranted by your scale of operation, we are able to get you terms from reinsurance markets and get it approved from the Indian regulators and GIC, so that you are not left here and there. You are able to get what you deserve. Travis, next please. These are the mandatory insurances for you. Automobile third-party liability, which is mandatory across the world. We have a public liability cover, which is a third-party liability cover, only specifically to industries that are handling hazardous substances. For them, this is mandatory. For others, it is optional, though it is obviously taken by most of the most of the clients in India. Error and omission for certain professions, and D&O was made mandatory a couple of years back for the top 500 listed companies in India. Worker compensation in India, it is a statutory liability for an employer, whether he has a policy or not. We as a broker obviously recommend that you can cover this liability through an insurance product, which is workman compensation insurance, but it is a choice that remains with the client. The premium tax is the GST, goods and sales tax, which is 18%. So regardless of whatever the premium comes in, 18% is charged for the government levy, and then the total premium comes to 100% of premium plus 18% on top of it. That's it. There's no other charges to be paid here. Travis. So as I said earlier, I'm just trying to cover a few things. Non-admitted insurance is not allowed in India. It is regulated. Cash before cover, as I mentioned. So no credit period, unfortunately, is available in India for any insurance policy. Average deductible, India is a very, very competitive market. And in many classes of risk, you will find that the claim ratios have been quite good. And because of the, and the industry is growing, the clients are growing, the economy is growing. Hence, we are very competitive when it comes to insurance terms, not only premiums, but also on the deductible side. So you see the average deductible remains at about $300, and for large risk is about, $33,000. Now this is an average case. So in some cases you will find even a deductible for about $5,000 as well. So rest assured, these are very, very nominal deductibles across the world. So you'll be happy to get your coverages properly done in India. First loss covers are not allowed in India unless it's a mega risk. Indian market, we have a very big capacity when it comes to property, property risk. We have a good terrorism pool as well, which is extended to about $270 million, both for property damage and BI combined. Fronting is not allowed in India. So you need to have a local partner here who is able to demonstrate that the policies can be issued locally and the premiums are paid locally. And this is the last point, which is about captive regulation. This is what I was hinting earlier, that there's some last minute issues that still remains in Indian insurance industry. And I'm sure will be covered in next couple of years. We do not have effective regulations when it comes to captives, and hence we are not able to utilize them effectively at the moment. Travis. So you being the members of the chamber, we have a lot to offer to you. As Prakash mentioned about who we are as Marsh and who we are as Marsh India, we are able to demonstrate our technical capabilities through the kind of risk specialties we have, or the industry specialties we had. We have deep understanding of the businesses. We have people from across spectrums of different industries to help and understand the client's need. This is very important for us, and this is the reason we have 1,000 plus employees on board, and it's a growing workforce. We are growing at least minimum 15% every year when it comes to workforce. Our global service delivery is extended to our 100 plus 130 actually plus offices, as Travis had mentioned. We have very, very strong relationships across the reinsurers and the insurance companies, and that really helps when it comes to finding a good solution for you as our clients. Yes, Travis. So master program for a multinational company, there are usually, we have seen the 4 kinds of insurances where, for example, the first one, you as an head offices, you arrange a single policy covering all the country, and the local policies are not issued at all. So these are done on non-admitted basis. Now the challenge here is that everything rests on you as a head office. Everything rests on you. The entire program structure, the cost and the administration, everything rests on you. And in many locations, many geographies, you'll find issues with the local regulators and the regulations. The next level, which is you have all the countries arranging their own insurance covers, which is common with some of the companies, not for all. However, the challenge they find is that it looks easy, obviously. At the same time, we have challenges where you have different types of coverages across your geographies. You're not able to bring consistency. And many a times there are a lot of issues when it comes to claims because local conditions were different vis-a-vis your global conditions. Then we have another kind of option where all the countries are arranging their individual policies, and the head office now have a policy with DIC and DIL. So what is DIC and DIL is the difference in conditions or difference in limits. So there are situations where local offices are mandatory and you take it, or by way of your structure, you want to have local policies across your different offices. And at your head office, you're able to bring in policies that are able to cover the gap between what terms you have negotiated at head office and what local companies, your local companies have done it. So you are able to bridge that gap. So if there is a claim that comes in between, you are able to manage that within your own policies. You are not pushing that to the local offices. Now, this is where Marsh comes in, because these insurance structures and insurance policies sometimes look easy in the beginning. However, they present a lot of challenges when it comes to regulation, when it comes to tax structures, when it comes to bringing uniformity and control by the head office. And this is where Marsh is able to bring you a controlled master program. This is specifically designed, a marquee program from Marsh, which is provided for multinational companies. This can be given to an Indian company who is based in India and also having operations outside the country. Or, for example, we have a US company who is obviously doing businesses in US and also have other offices across other geographies. So here, Travis, if you can go to the next slide, please. And maybe next, I'll just take them directly to the one more, please. Another one. So so this is where I wanted to show how it works. So you are the client. On your right side, you can see right bottom, you are the client, and this is where you connect to Marsh Global Office. So for example, you are based in US, so you connect to, say, Travis. Travis now arranges for you a controlled master program with a global reinsurer who is based, say, in US, and they're able to negotiate terms, conditions, and premiums with this global reinsurance that are suitable to you as a client, and the client, you agree for us to proceed further. Now we are able to get these policies in US as well as through this global reinsurer, through their local insurance partners across the geographies where you also have offices. We are able to download the same terms and conditions to these different geographies. Just in case we are able to not download for whatever local regulations issues, we have the DIC and DIL in place to take it over from there. So at this point of time, if you see, all the control remains with you at the head office when it comes to finalization of terms, negotiation of premium, and also you get an interface from Marsh where you are able to see all the policies across the world. Mind it, it is all the policies across the world. You are able to check real-time performance of these policies when it comes to premiums or when it comes to their endorsements or any claims, whether paid or still under process. You are able to control everything if you want to at your side. Whatever you want to download to other local offices, you can. And in this control master program philosophy, you're able to manage the local regulations pretty well. You're able to manage the tax regulations pretty well. The local claims are paid locally. You don't have to get into as the head office because it will otherwise bring a lot of challenges. You know, you are paid in, say, USD, and you need to now transfer it to a local office. So there are regulations, banking regulations, and then there are, you know, exchange losses, etc. So local claims are getting settled locally in the local policies. Only anything that comes to DIC, DL is now getting settled with you as the head office. And this is how beautifully this program is captured for you on paper and on the software, so that you are able to, you know, check anything and everything about your premiums, your insurance programs, how effective they are, what are the different layers. You know, if you are aware, in insurance we also have layers of, you know, different limits. So you are able to check each and every element about your insurance, about your reinsurance, how, you know, suitable these reinsurance companies are, if they are listed, and what are their, you know, credit ratings and all. Everything is available for you on your dashboard. Travis, if you can just go back now. This one, yeah. So this is next. Yeah, so this is what I was saying. Control master program for any multinational company is very, very important, because you are able to demonstrate the value of your organization and value of this insurance and risk management function across your geographies. It is a very simplified, you know, method. You are able to get economies of scale. You have locally compliant policies, uniformity across your covers. So there's no lapses, there's no gaps, there's no misses, etc. Anything and everything will get captured somewhere in the process, and you are able to, you know, get benefit out of it. You have central control. As I said, the administration remains with you, and you can ease this administration and download to next levels as and when and whatever level you want to. Simplified claim processes, and this really helps you bring a holistic environment in your setup. So Travis, I think you can take it over from here on the global benefits management.
Thank you, Puneet.
Yeah.
As the discussion has, as an organization, a multinational organization really expands its footprint, it also, you know, in taking into account this master program for your various commercial insurance products, the same really applies on a global basis for benefits. For anyone who has, you know, who has expanded their footprint, as you know, benefits in the domestic US are much different than what you'll find around the world. And it's very, very tough, or can be very complicated to understand or identify what are the various benefits for the particular country or region that you're expanding your footprint. You know, what is important to the population that you're looking to employ in that area. And so, you know, we really want to bring together the streamlining process or the administrative efficiencies that come along with global benefits management. So within the Marsh family, we really take pride on identifying really and working right alongside our clients as to, you know, where is the country or region that the footprint is looking to expand and scale. And then really being able to apply or assist with compliance, management, control, execution upon properly laid out benefits that once again are going to be very tailored and specific for the country or region in which your expansion is, that you're expanding your footprint. So, all I can say is that, if anyone who has experienced the disarray of offering global benefits, please know that there's an easy way to have consistency, compliance, and cost savings. And we do that every day through our global management platform. And really, it's a very methodical process. We're working with you on, once again, where you're at around the globe, how effective are the benefits, what is your budget, what are the regulatory compliance measures that need to be upheld, the visibility of that to that particular population. And I'll go on, but once again, as we are working with organizations, and I just had this recently, a local medical device company started operations in Europe and hired their first employee around the first of this year, and immediately needed to start working on their pension program, because obviously pensions are required while you're employing in Europe. And so we quickly identified, worked through, and executed upon a strategy to keep them in compliance, but also keep them very attractive to the employees that they were bringing on. And once again, can be really twists and curves. Doesn't really need to be that way, but we work not only within a strategic platform, but we work with local resources to be able to deliver that consistency that clients are needing, and obviously the streamlined efficiency and management of your global footprint as it relates to benefits on the benefits perspective. So we're really excited about how we work hand in hand with our clientele, and that also, as Prakash was making mention, we do that with our India office, and we've been extremely successful, and our clients are extremely satisfied. So then, as we talked about our approach, it's the moments that matter, right? You're really looking for an advisor that can help you assess your risk. After you've assessed the risk, how do you address it? We've given a lot of insight as to, how you can consolidate with your cover and the carrier providing that cover, on being able to make sure that there are no gaps in coverage. Everything is aligned and uniform. And then being able to create and execute upon that transaction, and then being able to obviously provide the services that go along with a really stepwise approach. And then obviously claims do happen, and you want to have the expertise right alongside and managing the process as those claims do take place. And as we all know, claims result in premium. And so the more effectively we can control claims, the more proactive we can either prevent loss or manage the claim as it happens appropriately, the better results that we're going to have across the board as you are putting together your master insurance program. So we're very methodical as we work through this approach. It's extremely successful. And once again, because of how our deep footprint, our local resources within countries and regions, our boots on the ground, we're effectively able to manage the process much better than if you're trying to handle it on your own or specifically through your carrier. And once again, we publish exactly what we see happening around the world. As you'll notice, obviously there are still concerns of terrorism. There are still concerns about the supply chain. This is just a quick identifier of how we're seeing emerging risk that may affect your global operation. Obviously, we're using these keen insights to work right alongside you on making sure that your coverage, your carrier, are all effective for your operations, and making sure that we're not missing any potential risk or exposure that would result in a financial impact than what we've already structured for your organization.
Prior to the pandemic, one of the most underutilized coverages was cyber. Cyber coverage was generally included or hidden in other coverages. And since the world has changed with everyone, companies, people working from home, as I'm sure Puneet, Prakash can attest to, that we've seen a huge transformation with this coverage and the need for it. With people working at home, not in the office, don't have the firewalls that office provides and things like that, more accessibility to be breached, computers, still using work computers, but working from home, created a tremendous opportunity, called opportunity for these hackers and people like that. You see here that 1 in 5 Americans are victims of ransomware. And it's a tremendous increase, not just domestically, but throughout the world. Regardless, in terms of the times that we're living in, these types of coverages are very, very important to your business. And if you're not aware of them, or you're somewhat aware of them, you need to learn more about them, whomever you speak with, because these can save companies. We have clients and some examples in terms of what has changed during the pandemic, and not just during the pandemic, but also post-corona as well. Next slide, please. And of course, the impact of all this, and making sure that as we emerge, God willing, around the world, where we'll see in certain people either going back to the office, what does the return to office landscape look like? What do we have? People are going to continue to work from home. Travis mentioned from a health insurance perspective, business interruption, companies that have a presence in countries and maybe not operations, but in those countries support operations in other countries. Business interruptions is tremendously important. And what you see here is really something that, in order to continue to operate your business in the most efficient way, looking at these types of coverages from a cyber perspective, business interruption, employee health, whatever it is, we're certainly here to help. So thank you.
Well, that concludes our presentation. Once again, as we and our colleagues in India have given keen insights and hopefully have deepened your knowledge as to what admitted carriers are available to be able to be part of the solution for your exposure across the world, or as you're just seeing, your potential expansion into India or from India into the U.S. There's a lot of optics and advice and counsel that need to play into your overall insurance and risk management strategy. We have been so pleased to be or have had the opportunity to present to you today. Once again, hopefully you found it very educational and informative. We appreciate our colleagues whom it is getting really late in the evening and joining us from India. But as you can tell, they are the best in class and really take the opportunity very seriously to understand the ever-changing world and the insights as to how India is changing. And how their world is continuing to evolve and expand. And evolving and expanding only allows your global operations or scalability from the US into India or vice versa. It really only allows you more opportunity to be able to successfully protect your organization from future risk or exposures. And so with that being said, Rachel, and I think you're going to assist us with this, but if we have any posed questions from the audience, I think we have about 10 to 12 minutes to be able to take those questions and hopefully give more insight to our audience.
Well, thank you, Travis and Prakash, Michael and Puneet, for sharing all of these insights. You definitely made something that's very complicated sound like it's something that is manageable with the right team. So I appreciate your insights and what you shared. For our audience, you can go ahead and type your questions in the chat box or the Q&A box, and I will field them and then present them to our panelists. This is a great opportunity to get your question answered from an expert. And I see we already have one that I'm going to answer just because it is, will the recording of this event be shared? And yes, we are recording the event. We are going to put it up on the Chamber's YouTube page. So if you saw it and you thought that was really insightful, but I didn't keep it all in my head, I need to go back and refresh. Yes, you will have that opportunity to do so. It will be up later this week on the Chamber's YouTube page. Further questions, let's see. Okay, we have a question here. Which are the compulsory insurances in India? So what insurance do I have to have if I'm having employees in India? Puneet or Prakash? You want to take that? I think you're on mute.
Yes. Let me take this. We had shared this earlier in the presentation also, but it's good that we have got similar questions. So yes, there are certain coverages that are important and are mandated in India. One, of course, is the automobile third-party liability, which is I've seen that in most parts of the world. It's being mandated by the governments. They do not want to risk the general public outside. At the same time, there is the mandated insurance cover for companies that are dealing in hazardous chemicals. Now we have seen certain cases, like if you are aware, the Bhopal gas tragedy and all in India, where there was loss of life because of release of toxic gases and all. So it has been mandated in India that if you are handling hazardous chemicals, and the list of chemicals is shared by the government, and if you're handling any of these chemicals, you are supposed to have a minimum third-party liability policy as defined by the government. Third is a new policy that came to protect the common public at large, and also to the independent directors who are on board of the large companies. So the top 500 listed companies in India, they are supposed to have this D&O cover for director and officer cover for their independent directors, so that they are able to take their decisions in proper shape and form without the fear of getting into legal troubles with people. So this is an important development in India. As we also mentioned about workman compensation, it is not an insurance. When it comes to insurance, it is not a mandatory cover. However, the workman compensation liability remains a mandatory issue for an employer. So anything related to or getting covered under Workman Compensation Act, the employer is actually responsible for that. And hence, as a broker, we obviously recommend any employer or anybody who's doing business in India to have this policy for their workers. So these are the mandatory policies. Yes.
Thank you. We have another question. What are the emerging risks in India that you see, and what solutions can insurance provide?
So with advent of COVID, there are a lot of changes that has happened across the world and also in India. One of them is what we are doing right now. We are able to manage businesses from home and, remotely and on internet basis, which has not been there, this much. And this obviously present the risk of, loss of data or privacy issues. And this is one of the emerging issue that is being, found when it comes to customers looking for cover, a cyber insurance policy, which is able to handle and give you coverages for these kind of, interventions by, by hackers and all. So this is one emerging risk. Second is, if you're aware, the property policies traditionally do not cover risk that if unless there is a physical damage to your property. So the insurance comes into place only when there's a physical damage to property. There have been a lot of discussion because of COVID, because all of a sudden, the factories were under lockdown. You couldn't process and you couldn't, make your output come out and be sold. And that was also a loss. Unfortunately, this area still is being discussed in the insurance markets. There is no solution as yet as that has come for non-damage business interruptions or non-damage, government lockdowns, etc. These are still being discussed at reinsurance levels. Another important discussion that has happened in the structures is about COVID being part of your medical and life insurance covers. In India, fortunately, these have been already covered because there was no exclusions about pandemic or virus related challenges. So in Indian policies, if you have a medical insurance or if you have a term life insurance, COVID related complications are covered in both the policies. I may not be in a position to comment on the American side, but on the India side, it is covered.
Well, that's good to know. Thank you for sharing. Are there any other questions from the audience? Give you a minute. Type in any more questions in the chat box. I do want to thank our panelists once again for sharing all of their wealth of information with us. And after having listened to them, if you think, I need to hire these people because I need to look at my insurance coverage for my global company, I am happy to connect you with them. Just send me an email at info, that's INFO, at USICOC.org. And I will be happy to pass your contact information along to our panelists, and then we can get to business. I don't see any additional questions. So just a reminder that we did record today's presentation and it will be up on the Chamber's YouTube page. You can find that from our website, www.usicoc.org. And once again, thank you, Travis. Thank you, Prakash. Thank you, Michael. And thank you, Puneet. We really appreciate your sharing your expertise with us today, and especially way late into the evening hours from India. So thank you, Puneet and Prakash.
Thank you, Rachel. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, with that, we're going to see us next time for our next webinar. Take care. Y'all have a good rest of your day.
Thank you.
Thank you.